standing out in itself is not completely bad, nor is it completely good. To an extent, standing out is essential because standing out is what defines your individuality. And what do I mean by defining your individuality is most of the people around you are leading lives on the basis of paths which have been created either by their parents or the leaders or icons that they have around them in their society or in their culture. So what happens in effect is you're trying to be a copy or a carbon copy of the people who have gone before you. Now you may say, what is wrong with that? Well, there's nothing wrong with doing it. The only thing that is wrong is that you may not be exactly what those people have been. No two individuals are alike. Truth is infinite and it manifests itself in infinite ways. As a result, every single individual in this world has his or her own defined individuality, set of characteristics. That is what I mean by individuality. Now, if I as an individual were to follow the path of another individual, what I am trying to convey is that I am the same as that man or as that person, which is rarely the case. There could be similarities, but there cannot be one-to-one correspondence between any two individuals. This is one. Number two, when you are trying to imitate or follow in the footsteps of others around you, you're in a way accepting the ideology and the belief system by which the people who have gone before you have lived their lives. You are going to lead your life without interrogating the beliefs of your predecessors, which means you are inculcating in yourself a herd mentality. Somebody walked on this path, made it big, so you think, oh, this is the short path, this is the surest recipe for success, so let me walk in his or her footsteps. That's why you have that American poet saying that there were two paths in the forest, and I chose the untrodden one, because the path which is untrodden is the path which has not been taken by anyone. That is the path of your choice. You have chosen it. So don't determine the path of your life on the basis of the people who have gone before you. Because the moment you do that, you become one among the crowd. You become a part of the mass. You massify yourself. You lose your individuality. You do not express the qualities, the attributes, the potentialities that were given to you at the time, or that you inherited at the time of your birth. So it is important Number one, to express your individuality. Number two, to interrogate the beliefs by which people have lived or led their lives. And when you do that, definitely you become an individualistic person. You define your identity, you define your individuality. Now the question is, in what way is it bad then? It's good as long as you express the potentialities within you. It is good insofar as you interrogate the belief systems of the past and at times reinvent those belief systems. When you interrogate the belief systems of the past, you protect them from ossification. Otherwise, the ways, the formulae by which people lead their lives over a period of time become ossified. And ossification, by ossification I mean that people forget why they're living their lives in that particular manner. When people live lives in a particular manner, even without knowing why they are living life in that particular manner, I think that's a very sad day. So when you interrogate, then what you do is you try to find out what is good in your tradition or useful. Let me not say good, because there's nothing absolutely good and absolutely evil. But you're definitely doing one thing, you're trying to see what is appropriate in the tradition for the present and what is inappropriate in the tradition for the present, because the present is the most important reality. The present is a situation which has its own characteristics, and time, as you know, is a continuum. It keeps changing, it never stays still, it's not static. So when you interrogate, you're basically reinventing the tradition, and that is what brings about a sense of dynamism in the tradition, and that is what also helps the tradition to stay alive. Otherwise, there is an ossification of the tradition. So these two things, when they happen, they happen only when an individual stays on the individualistic path. But after a certain while, it's not good. Why? The reason is when the individual becomes too preoccupied with himself or herself, then he or she tends to privilege himself or herself. You tend to place yourself in the center of the circle, and you tend to center yourself that I am all and the rest goes to the periphery. Now this is again a horrifying scenario, because you are upsetting the balance. You are a part of the cosmos, you are a part of your environment, and there's a certain synergy and there's a certain balance which needs to be struck between you and the community and the environment, which is at the root of questions which interrogate the complementarity and the conflict between individual rights and communitarian rights. So striking the right balance is important, which may call for subsuming of the individual to the interests of the community, because if the individual is allowed to go pursue his or her individualistic goals without any check, then he or she may trample upon the right of other individuals to grow, to express themselves, to express their potentialities. So he or she becomes a threat to other individuals and also becomes a threat to the community. And if the community breaks down, then how can he or she survive?